I know you think people are going to be interested in this, but they're not.
So, what's the deal with Seinfeld's stand up? If you're Gen Z like me, you probably know Jerry Seinfeld from four things: his namesake sitcom, the commercials we saw for the Pop Tart movie, his hit interview show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and the travesty from our childhoods known only as the B movie. So, what's Seinfeld's comedy like? Who enjoys it? Is it good? Why do people enjoy it? And why do people not enjoy it? I actually did a good bit of research for this video and watched a couple of Seinfeld's comedy specials. Now, I don't do comedy for a living or anything. This is just my opinion as someone has the ability to laugh.
Jerry Seinfeld. All right, here we go.
One reason you might not know any of his stand up, even if you've seen his other work, is that until pretty recently, the goal of being a stand up comic was to get noticed so you could either have your own TV show or write on a TV show. Nowadays, we see comedians on YouTube, such as Chris Fleming, who use social media to work their way into being a touring stand up comedian. Other modern comedians like John Mulaney started out mostly writing for TV shows or being on SNL, but were able to do stand up as a respected and well paying career. Back in the day, that would be considered a downgrade. When Seinfeld was starting out, doing stand up in bars and on TV wasn't the end goal. It was the work he put on in to try to prove to people he was worth a TV show. Seinfeld's first aired routine was in 1986 when he opened for Rodney Dangerfield.
Here's a guy you're going to hear an awful lot about, okay? He smokes in bed, face down. But I'll tell you, in this thing called showbiz, he's one of the guys who's coming up real fast. He's really great. Jerry Seinfeld. All right, here we go.
You can find the full video of his performance here on YouTube. He told relatable bits about New York taxi cab drivers.
To me, the most amazing thing about when you go out in this city, you go to a show like this and you're with your friends and you talk and maybe you have a good time, maybe you don't. The most amazing thing that happens to you on a night like this is the ride that you have in the cab. Isn't it incredible the chances that these guys take with your life and that you're so calm in the back seat, because they got that glass partition and you're just watching them. It's like it's happening on television, he's flying around the road and you're going, boy, that looked dangerous.
Long Island, his folks moving to Florida, showering, and his mother getting into interior design.
So I'm down there in Florida. Unbelievable. My mother's into this whole thing with walls now. How do they get interested in walls? What do you think of this wall? I don't know. To me, if it's forcing you to use the door to get out of the room, it's working, It's maybe a floral pattern there or something. So she put up mirrors. She decided on mirrors. From the floor to the ceiling, we have a huge mirror now in the living room, which my mother feels gives you a feeling of space. Have you heard this? That it makes it seem like you have an entire other room. Now, what kind of a jerk walks up to a mirror and goes, hey, look, there's a whole nother room in there?
His humor seems to be like a mixture of observational comedy and sound effects. He's still kind of shy in this special and hasn't come out of his shell yet. To be honest, most of the bits would probably be funnier to me if I'd ever been to New York City or had parents that moved to Florida or even ridden in a taxi cab, but I can't relate to any of those things. His bit about being in the shower, though, is pretty universally relatable and still funny, honestly.
Shower is the only break you get, isn't it? When you're asleep, people can bother you, they call you. When you're in the shower, they can't get to you. They call up on the phone, I'm sorry, we can't reach him, he's in the shower. There's nothing anyone can do, he's 5 feet away, we can't talk to him, we can't get a message, we can't do anything. Can you come out? I can't talk now, I just got out. I just got out of the shower, I was naked, singing, rubbing myself all over, I have to readjust to reality here. Well, they got that shower radio, there's a dynamite item there. Got soap in your eye, you need the traffic report right then. Music, nothing better to have in the shower, no better place to dance than a slick surface next to a glass door.
In the modern era, when someone does a comedy special, we can see people react to and review the jokes in real time, thanks to the internet. However, I can't really find what people thought about him opening at the time, due to the special being aired in 1986. Seinfeld's first ever solo special was aired a year later in 1987 and began with a clip that made it seem like someone was skipping through TV channels. I think it's a very cool artistic decision and was a fun little bit. Seinfeld's then welcomed onto the stage, and when he is, he just sort of greets the crowd by yelling, "Yeah!"
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerry Seinfeld.
And then waiting for the applause to fizzle out. He just kind of awkwardly stands there and stares at everyone. It goes on for like a little bit too long. I mean, it's his first time, so I'm not going to beat up on him, but it's just kind of funny to watch. Other than that, the special starts out fairly standard, telling relatable jokes about how sometimes when you go out with your friends, all you want to do is go back home, and then when you're at home, you just want to go back out. Then it cuts to this white room with him sitting on a stool explaining his perspective as a comedian. The white room is a little bit jarring to cut to suddenly. It feels a little bit like we're seeing just this strange parallel dimension. Is this purgatory for Jerry? Who knows?
Hello, I'm Jerry Seinfeld. How do comedians come up with material? For years, comedians have jealously guarded the secret of where material comes from. It's been confidential.
He said the name. He said the name of the movie. He said the name of the special. Oh my goodness. He said the. Then he pulls out these glasses he calls comedy X-ray specs and puts them on us.
Until now. The fact is, almost everything is funny. You just have to have a way of looking at it. These are comedy X-ray specs.
They're ready now.
That teenage boy does not want to be in Jerry's video, even remotely.
Designed so that for the first time in history, the general public will be exposed to the way comedians view our world. For the next hour, it will be as if you, the viewer, have stolen a comedian's brain. How can this be? I'll demonstrate. Let's just say we put the comedy X-ray specs right on the lens of the camera. See that? Funny, huh? I think that's enough. I said that's enough. I'm glad you all enjoyed that. Now, can we get on with this?
No, Jerry, buddy, friend of mine, please don't do that again. The rest of the special is basically cutting from the live show to this white room with him talking to us, and then skits he's acting in, most of which he's a little boy or like dressed up as a dog. I don't like seeing him as a dog or a little boy. It's a little jarring. Anyway, he's telling humorous stories from his childhood. A lot of it is so general it still holds up. It's youthful and lighthearted. The skits feel a little bit like a fever dream.
I never seem to enjoy these family gatherings. I didn't care either. I think I was invisible to them.
And I got tired halfway through watching it and sort of had to power through the rest, which isn't a good sign. Trying to break down how Seinfeld tells jokes, and was planning to write out his joke-telling formula, but thankfully Jerry already did the work for me in his interview with the New York Times.
I know you think people are going to be interested in this, but they're not. Comedy writing is something you don't see people doing. It's a secretive thing. I've never shown anybody this stuff. I feel a little funny about it right now, to tell you the truth. In comedy, what you do is you think of something that you think is funny, and then you go from there. It's a fun thing to say, Pop-Tart. I like the first line to be funny right away. When I was a kid and they invented the Pop-Tart, the back of my head blew right off. And that got the whole thing started, that a specific part of my head blew off. Not just my head, but just the back.
About his sense of humor seems oddly Gen Z to me. In his stand-up, he mixes relatable experiences with these big hyperboles and jumps to conclusions, and also gets very specific with phrasing. And sometimes he'll just randomly say he's going to kill himself as the punchline.
Moms, I love my mom, let me just say that. But she's into things, which is great. She's into things. She's into wallpaper. She thinks wallpaper is absolutely riveting. Every time I see her, she pulls a little swatch out of her pocketbook. What do you think about the whole house and this? Every room, floor, ceiling, this pattern, what do you think? Here, wait, I'll put it up against the wall. Maybe you can imagine it better. Now, what do you think? Do you like this, or maybe, or this one's better? This one's better. I thought this one was better. Whatever you think, Mom, whatever you think. But I try and get involved. I want to be involved. I go to the wallpaper store. I try and, talk with the salesman or something there. And what is the difference, say, between the semi-gloss paint and throwing myself off a building? What would be the difference there?
I'm sure many young adults in 1987 universally just said, he's just like me for real, and moved on. But back to the Pop-Tart joke.
So in the midst of that dark and hopeless moment, the Pop-Tart suddenly appeared in the supermarket, and we just stared at it like an alien spacecraft, and we were like chimps in the dirt playing with sticks. What makes that joke is you got chimps, dirt, playing, and sticks. In 7 words, 4 of them are funny. Chimps are funny. Then there's the trying to figure out as a kid, how did they know that there would be a need for a frosted fruit-filled heatable rectangle in the same shape as the box it comes in and with the same nutrition as the box it comes in? In the midst of that darkness and hopelessness, the Kellogg's Pop-Tart appears. And they always laugh there because that indicates, oh, he's telling us a story. And then my next joke that I want to get to is chimps in the dirt with sticks. So now I'm looking for the connective tissue that gives me that really tight, smooth link, like a jigsaw puzzle link. And if it's too long, if it's just a split second too long, you will shave letters off of words. You count syllables, to get it just, it's more like songwriting. Then I had to figure out how to end the thing, and that's the hardest part. If you have a long bit, the biggest laugh has to be at the end. It has to be. It can't be in the middle or the beginning. And this was very daunting. Once this Pop-Tart had come into the world, I didn't understand why we were still eating other kinds of food, because this seemed to be definitely the new way. 2 in the packet and 2 slots in the toaster. Why 2? 1's not enough, 3's too many. And they can't go stale because they were never fresh.
It feels like he values the setup more than the punchline. And it feels a lot like he's telling a story more than a joke. There are no layers to most of his stand-up, it's just a series of anecdotes. It is what he's telling you, and what he's telling you is funny because it's relatable and worded in a whimsical manner. Before I go on to talk about why people like him, I'd like to share just a random fun Jerry fact with y'all. So this is your fun Jerry fact for the video. According to his Wikipedia, you can trace his lineage back to the line of David, which his family claims they have. That means he has a slightly more famous, just very distant cousin. But why do people like his stand-up? According to David Steinberg's LitHub article titled Why is Jerry Seinfeld one of the most successful stand-up comedians of all time? And I quote, he'll make you laugh no matter what age you are or how smart you are. He's so at home in front of an audience because he works on his material tirelessly. End quote. And honestly, I think that reason makes sense. Seinfeld didn't just tell jokes about college life or married life or having a certain job. There weren't layers and layers to his jokes. It was jokes about the cereal you ate as a kid, about being in boring places, about your relationship with your parents, and about the fear of commitment. You could just sit down, turn your brain off, and find comfort in someone talking about the same things you thought about and experienced. And I think that's why relatable comedy is still popular today. Nowadays, we consume most of that sort of thing through memes or sketches on the internet, but back then, that wasn't really much of an option. If I was a young unmarried adult in 1986, I probably would have loved to sit down and watch Jerry Seinfeld's special and then just go, haha, I do that, and move on. And I think that can make your day a little bit better sometimes.
The fact is, almost everything is funny. You just have to have a way of looking at it.
So that's the deal with Jerry Seinfeld. Well, thanks for watching to the end of my first ever YouTube video. I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed if you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment down below if you have anything you want to say about it. This is my first time making a YouTube video, and it took a while, but I think I'm getting the swing of things. If anyone has any tips on editing quicker, please let me know as well.